guys, Mark Miller here. Welcome. Roy's with us as well. How you doing, Roy?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I got some scratches.
Scratches?
Yeah, see those right there?
What'd you do?
I had
Animal attack?
Yeah, it was an animal attack. And notice from the direction of the scratches that it got more than one hit on me. Not from the same direction. See that?
Were you cornered by multiple, or did you just decide not to move after the first one?
I was cornered by one. I was moving. Unfortunately, I was the only target in this animal's point of view. And yeah, it's a little tough experience over the weekend. Had 2 near-death experiences. The attacks came while I was in the water, with not able to stand, and so
Oh dear.
yeah, and so
That's going to make it hard to avoid things.
Yeah, no kidding, and so yeah, it was an incredibly I don't know, I guess I'll say strenuous experience. I would say both times I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be drowning here. That's going to be happening here soon. But both times I got to land. Anyway, yeah, the story's like way too long. I can't think of a great fast way to tell the story, other than yeah, near death experiences. That's all.
Okay,
2 of them.
but you're with us now at least, and relatively safe.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good right now. I am. Yeah, little trauma. The sound of the approaching creature is still like, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, so I'm better now. But yeah, I got out of the water. My family's on the beach. I get out of the water and I'm bloody. It's not just here. I've got all up and down. And Karen is like, yeah, you look like I've never seen you before. You looked a little tired. Yeah, because usually I'm like, I don't have a lot of near-death experiences, even though I kind of, push things.
This is generally considered a good thing.
Yeah, I kind of push things on the edge, more than most people, I think. But
Fair, I suppose. Yeah.
But I generally even with I think I told you about this at one point on the show. I was like with my daughter in the water, and I'm like, hey, do you want to play the danger game? And she's like, what's that? It was a river, and I throw you out up to the river, and as you come shooting by, I try to catch you before you get out of sight. And so we play, it's like, so we simulate danger, right? But for the most part, we've got things are pretty safe, even though it looks dangerous to people. So,
Fair enough.
And so, but I was actually simulating real danger over the weekend. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's, yeah. And I was hit so hard at one point that my glasses, the ones I was wearing, bent outwards, like at an angle like that. And I'm just like, I'm treading water, trying to keep the creature away from me, and trying to fix my glasses. And I fixed them, got them on. They got knocked off a second time. I got them out of the water, and then the third time they were knocked off as I was pushed down underwater. Anyway, that's your little preview of my weekend. So that's so let's. And the thing is so funny. Volume is a little low. Says Jetson. Why is that? I look, my values look good here. Bring in Mr. Smoopy. I love that font, by the way. I love that whole thing, everything about that. So volume is a little low. Let's go take a look at my levels. Oh, yeah, hold on.
I have no easy way to check the stream at the moment, so I'm not sure.
I'm looking at my
It's
levels.
good with me.
Give me a second. Let me check my levels here. Check. That does not seem to be making a difference. Why is that? Check. Nope.
Just giving some extra information. It says the fanfare was louder, but voice, both Mark and Rory, are low. Smoothie says you could probably double Mark's volume and be fine.
Okay, 1 second.
Interesting.
Let me open up the sound settings here. My mic volume, device properties. Oh yeah, look at that. Check. How's that? Probably better.
Is that better?
this changes mysteriously for me. I'm going to add that to my checklist of things I do. Sometimes this volume changes. I think that's going to be better based on levels I'm looking at. Check, check, check. Yeah, that looks good. Add device properties, mic volume to startup checklist.
All right, disable audio volume randomization routine.
Yeah, this has started in the last month. I've noticed this thing sometimes dropping. I'm like, who's doing that? Some app is setting that and changing it. It's not us, right? No, that's not us. Our volume changes are on a for playback level, so that's for individual WAV files. So today I wanted to, I don't know. I was like, I have to confess, Rory, I'm going to need like some, cheerleading, motivational support from you here on today's show.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it's from my recent trauma or because I'm just not passionate about the code that I want to write, but it was on my to-do list. It's what I was going to do on Friday. When I've got a bug too. I just have a bug. I should maybe go after the bug, because I think I can reproduce a bug. Let's go after the bug first. So we're going to do a bug.
Reproducible bugs are good. We can do that.
I kind of figured it out, and it's kind of an annoying bug. But to do it, I'm going to need to bring up a window. We're going to have to get some console log kind of stuff in here. I want to go to local, and is it the back? It's the back overlay. So it's this guy right here. Let me refresh, and I'll show you the bug. So with it refreshed up here, and I think I want to also turn it off on the, I'm going to turn off the same overlay on the main screen for a minute, so that you'll just see it here. And so now I'm going to go here, and it goes like this. The bug goes like this. We can see the scroll there. I'm going to go into one of my spells and bring up like Fireball. Oh, wait, I turned up the front
We've
overlay.
got the stream overlay of the scroll. I've suddenly noticed there's two handles, but there isn't. There's one on the stream.
There you go. Now I got it turned off. So there it is right there. So there we can see it right there behind Fred. There it is. So that's what we see.
Okay.
And then the steps to reproduce appear to be close. Hit the scroll close button.
Suddenly, sunflowers. Alright. Maybe not so suddenly.
Copper Beardy is in the house.
If I sing to that song.
That works. At least it's in time. It's good.
Yeah. So I'm going to let's go.
Welcome, Copper Beardy.
Welcome, Copper Beardy. Glad you're with us. All right. So I'm going to now hit the scroll close button. That's the button that is one of the steps to getting here. So I'm going to do that, hitting that button. All right. So now that's closed. By the way, that site's muted. That's why we're not hearing any sound effects from it. Next, I'm going to go to another player. So I'll just keep this up so you can see it. I'm going to go to, like, say, Little Cutie. Click on spells right there. And then let's cast the jump spell. So click on that. And now at this point, we should see it. We should see her scroll, the spell.
That scroll should be back and should be telling us or showing us what's going on.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have no clues as to why it's not working. So I'm bummed about that. I really wanted to see that. So let's go after this. This might actually take a while. I'm actually more motivated to do this than the other thing I was going to do. This might get me into coding, right? Get me into my coding day, and we'll see what happens with that. So this, as I recall, is over in a file we haven't touched in a long time called the character stats, scroll stats manager, or something like that.
So I'm trying to sort of picture in my head, when is the singular best time for this to appear? I imagine it's as you select the character, isn't it? Because if you've got nothing on screen, then you want to show the character, and if you've got a different character, you've got to switch characters.
I'm not actually selecting the character on when I hit this button. When I hit the jump button, what's happening is the SS command is being executed, which is select shortcut. That's what it's, And that's going to be
right,
here.
because it's not actually a little cutie button you're pushing. It's kind of a folder with other things in it.
Right. So
nothing's actually being sent at that point. Okay.
So now we go to select player shortcut. Select player shortcut comes in here, and it says activate shortcut. Activate shortcut. I should have just, there it is right there. Get the player, set player properties based on shortcut. What's that do? Just two-handed or not, I guess, right there. Update ask UI for the player. That's just if it's got askable kinds of Boolean properties that the DM can set or that I could set. So that's not there. Activate shortcut for player. This might come in. I'm looking for something that says, hey, if the player's not selected, select the player.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I'm not seeing the pieces I'm expecting to see immediately. However, I'm not thinking that they're necessary. I'm trusting that they are working. So because I trust that they're working, I want to go, this is in the C# app. I want to go down into the overlays and just start putting some data out to the log. Console log is what I want to do. So I can at least start seeing and tracking and understanding the problem. If we can fix this might be like the last one. So it would be a great fix to do. Because the workaround for this, by the way, is I've got to hit another player that's not the active one now. So if I'm on my Stream Deck here, I've moved up. I could hit this button to activate little cube, but I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I just pumped the volume up right there. Got much better. Yeah, I looked over and I noticed my other volume was low, and I cranked that up a little bit. So it wasn't that it was weird. I just did it without telling you.
He was being all professional. Which
is kind of the story of my life. Everybody is like, that was really weird. Mark just came out of the ocean all bloody. No, I just did it without telling you. So anyway, if I hit this would normally activate Little Cutie's tab and then show her scroll. Let me hit it right now. Yeah, I hit it. Nothing happened. So now I'm going to go to, but if I click another player and I hit theirs, if I hit ladies, we should see lady come up. Hold on. I said nothing happened because I was looking on the stream, but I realized we didn't have the stream up. So it's hard to tell if when I said nothing happened, if nothing actually happened. Let's go back and get the reproducible state just to verify this. Click on Little Cutie's button. I clicked on that button right there. Now at this point, if I go into spells, I think it's going to work. So if I go to hit jump, at this point, we should see jump. Yeah, jump is over here now. Whoops, I hit mold earth. There's jump. So we can see that. That's working. Now, the way to reproduce is we close the scroll, go to another player. So now I'm going to go in and click on my character right here, Merkin. I'm not going to click this. I think that's the workaround for it. But I'm going to instead go into spells and click like lightning lure right here. And that's the bug. And then now if we come back up and now I click on me, I think this is going to fail also to fix it. Yeah, I just clicked it. Nothing's happening. And then, But now if I click on somebody else like lady, and then I come back over, I guess I click on me. Then, well, we know that works. And then now if I click on lightning lure, we should see it. So there's a state issue here.
There's sort of a presumption that the stuff is on screen by some of those sub-commands.
Yeah. And I got just turned on some Coderush music there, so we got that going. So let's see if we can get some of that state data out here. I am noticing I already have one bit of data that I'm sending out that I didn't realize this. And maybe more. This .state might be coming, it's coming from character stat scroll. Cool.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool. I'm not sure what this .state is, but we might want to get that in something that's a little more human readable. That's on line 1047, character stats scroll. Let's start there.
Okay.
Roy's like, I'm good. I'll start there. You want to start there?
Well, it's a good call. I mean, if we're definitely pushing state out, it's definitely coming from the scroll, then this is a regular thing that's happening roughly at the frequency of us changing things. So it's a good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah. I think if I do this, it'll be more human readable. It's an enum. And I think if I index the enum by the value of the enum, I'll get the text out. is what I think.
Okay.
I don't know. You don't think?
Sure, give it a go.
Let's try it and see what happens. All right, so we've got waiting for player data to be initialized. Let's initialize that data. All right, let's go into, say, a little cutie, say the jump spell. Nope, state has not changed. All right, I feel like I'm close. Let's go look it up. Get enum name to string in JavaScript. All right. I want the word left is what I want. Direction to string passing in the value. I bet that's it.
Okay.
No to string? What's direction? Oh no, direction is something different. Wait, no.
Well, hang on. That's exactly what you were doing. Right there.
It is. Why isn't it working?
So
Did I
something
fail to
not
refresh
refreshed?
it? Maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't get that at all. Why that failed. Here's the refresh of the data. Let's hit entangled. Okay, where's my state? I don't see state showing up here yet. Let's pick another character. Wait, let's close the scroll and then bring up Fireball. Okay, cool.
There we go. Cool. I have not seen us do that before. I did not realize we could get the enumeration phrase out that way.
Yeah, what's interesting is the regular refresh didn't seem to bring it in, but the hard refresh did. That's a little bit interesting to me. I'm not sure why that is. It could also been that we made such a quick change, right? Remember, we're in TypeScript, and Visual Studio's got to generate some JavaScript for us. So yeah. I may have just made the change, flipped over, and refreshed maybe a little too quickly. Okay, I think this is part of the problem. State is closing, but it's not. It should be closed at some point.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what's going on
There
here?
were two messages of that, by the way. Did you see there was a count of two?
Yes,
Was
I
that
did see
from a
that.
previous one, or was that it double firing? I don't know if it collates them together like that, but it feels like closing followed by closing yielded the count of going up to two.
Player data change had to be called twice because there's no for loop in here. I know that wasn't what you were asking, but yeah, it had to be called twice. So, all right, the scroll is closing. Now here, if there's no active character or the player IDs are not the same, we clear emphasis say okay to change page. I think the fix is kind of simple and maybe not entirely right. But let's assume that closing sometimes never gets corrected. The fix is to actually correct closing to closed.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also argue, well, wait, if we're closing and we're coming in and things aren't matching, then this code is probably okay to execute. Because we're going to reopen it because it's, So I'm thinking, let's run that right there. Let's.
So it's almost as if we cut the sequence early on. So normally you'd open, or you'd be opening and then open and then closing and then closed. But if you're switching to a new state partway through, even though you're closing and you might start to open, and therefore you're okay to interrupt and do effectively the same thing as if you had reached the stage of closed.
I agree with you, 100%. All right, let's refresh that. See if we can reproduce it. So I'll bring up Fireball. I will close the scroll. I will go to another player like Lady, and I'll go to her Shield of Faith. Didn't work. That did not work. Is it one of those? Let's try it just one more time, just in case. Okay, there's the refresh right there. Let me do one other thing. I want to take this button here. I want to copy it. I want to move it down so I've got it somewhere else closer to where I'm working with. Let's start with little cutie spells. Let me throw it down here for a second. Okay. So empty cache hard reload. Just going through the steps again. Hit that button down there, the refresh button, and then I'm going to hit jump. So that's my starting case. Actually, jump isn't doing anything. These exceptions are not to be worried about. Jump didn't do anything. That's weird. Mold earth. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Let me just try getting another player in here because I'm thinking we might be in a different bug. Let's try one more time. Jump. Here's the bug idea that I think I'm in. Excuse me. Is when I hit refresh on the Stream Deck right here, and I then click a spell that Little Cutie already has. In the main app, Little Cutie is selected. And so what I think is happening is it says, well, I don't need to select Little Cutie, but down below in the refreshed part that we just refreshed, Little Cutie is not selected in there. So we have a state mismatch is what I think is happening.
Yeah.
If I were to click on another character here and then hit refresh on the Stream Deck, like this, refresh, and now hit jump, I think it'll work. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too worried about that because that's a one-time issue, and once we get past that state issue, it's going to run, it's going to be fine the rest of the way. All right, so there's the jump. Let's go up and do the scroll close. Here's the scroll close. And here, let me just interact so that we can get this is just for playing the media files. That's what this error is coming from. Once I click on it, it'll start playing those media files without raising that exception. And then let's go grab my fireball now and see if now it works. It does not. Also, there was a weird sound that just came in.
It was a very strange sound. It sounded like, I don't know, an upset cat of some description.
Yeah. I did not understand where that was coming from. I don't even think I have an upset cat sound that I think about. All right, so that absolutely did not work. We need more data. All right, it's too bad. At first I was disappointed. I was thinking, oh, dang, this is disappointing. We're going to fix this in one step. But no. All right, let's take this out and refresh and see if it restores behavior. And then let's figure out, we'll approach this in a different tack on it. So let's come in here, we'll refresh this. Let's refresh. And we'll go back up to Little Cutie's character and spells and click on jump. No. I'm still seeing this. Jump's not working. Why is that not working? Is Little Cutie selected? Oh, Little Cutie is selected here. All right, one more time. Jump. That's that one-time bug that I think we don't have to worry about too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's jump. Now I'm going to close the scroll. Now this we don't expect to work, but we expect to at least we're now seeing. I think we've gotten past that other issue is what I think we have, but we don't have the fix. So go in here and click on Fireball. Now we're expecting to not see anything here, and we see the state is closing. So all right, so that fix did not work. We get two closings here is what we do. Let's do a review on closed versus closing and see what's going on here. Close. So the state is closing. Scroll is visible is some sort of check, which is basically just checking to see if these things are true. What's this? Just cleaning up some of these ESLint messages here. Whoops, that was not the one I wanted to do. This is a constant alert right there. That looks like a constant. That looks like a constant. Right? Or no? No. So that is constant, 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 constant. Yes!
Wow. In the house.
The answer is yes, Surly Dev. It's an emphatic yes.
Exactly.
All right, we're stopping the show.
Hey,
Surly,
Surly,
where have you been, man?
how's it going?
This is my that just turned off the music entirely, man. It just shut us down. We'll turn the music back on. That's where we dance. We dance in Germany. You're in Germany. He's alive from his month-long vacation. It was a month-long vacation. Retro CRT is with us as well. Retro CRT. Why didn't we see a fanfare for you? Is it because we were playing the other stuff? Maybe? I don't know. That's weird. I wonder why that is. Maybe Retro CRT got in with a...
That's interesting, because Retro CRT's entrance was to declare party. So one supersedes the other?
That might have been exactly what happened. The fanfare started to play for Retro CRT. Let's give it to him. Look out, it's a giant growing TV! I'm going to be on TV one day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Kids are like, what's TV? What is TV exactly, Mark? What is TV? Because I partied. Yeah, it was a willing sacrifice. All right, well, thank you, Retro CRT. I'm so glad you're here, Surly Dev. Yeah, totally missed you. I was like, man, I don't know, man. Maybe I said something mean to Surly. I don't know. He didn't like, That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was me.
Well, he's back, either way, and welcome so.
I hope you forgive me for whatever I did. That's what I really hope. All right, I'm going to continue going through here. I'm just going to, solve some of these problems, just because I don't like seeing all of those underlines.
When the tool is critical of your code, it's like, you got to fix.
Yeah.
Well, most of the time. There are some things you look at and you go, what is this tool talking about?
Well, I don't know. Some of these I'm like kind of like a little bit like that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with what the defaults are. Just because I'm leaning into that experience to see what that experience is like. Let's crank up the volume a little bit over there. Surly Dev was in Germany. I did get a few tweets and whispers from live coders asking if I was all right. You know what? That was not me, Surly. I thought about it several times. I was like, oh, yeah, I need to reach out to Surly, make sure he's okay. And, squirrel. Show ended in squirrel, and I ended up not taking care of you like I should have. I apologize if you were like, sorry about that. If you were like,
everything gone by.
Everything gone by. If you were like, like under the table, like pinned there, bleeding out, and you needed me to take care of you, I totally failed. I totally failed. So I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I'm glad you're okay.
So what we learned from this is that Mark is not your in case of emergencies.
I'm not your guy. Well, it looks like you applied pressure and stopped the bleeding. I appreciate it. Sorry for apologies for all the talk of blood. I had my near-death, drowning, pummeled, beating, scratching experience over the weekend where I was, two separate occasions, almost died. I had my eyes right above the water, looking at trying to see the beach where I was, trying to get to the beach while a creature is trying to drown me. That was my experience. But I'm here. Everything's okay. we're trying to find a bug. We're looking through trying to find a bug and simultaneously clean up these green underlines that I don't like so much. So, let's be social. How are you guys doing? Let's do that social thing that we autistic folks are so good at. Right, Rory? Right? We're good at this.
I don't know. A, that I have such a good excuse, or B, that, anything like that.
It was really a creature. I don't want to say, I don't want to give you more detail on it because it's just going to get more embarrassing, the story.
See, I'm picturing a kraken at this stage.
I'm thinking not a kraken. Right? It was not a kraken. It was a medium-sized dog that was panicked.
Oh, okay.
And had very, very, it was smashing me down in the water. This was actually my dog, this is the embarrassing part of it. And I swam out with the dog to an island, and the dog was fine halfway there, and just resting on my, back of its head on my shoulder. And then all of a sudden decided it wasn't fine. And its version of not fine was in the form of panic and trying to stand on top of the closest island it could find, which is my head. And it's a lot.
I can totally understand that. I mean, if you're in the water and you're feeling confident, it's great. Yes. No problem. Okay. You lose that confidence. And this is I could drown right now. And that's pretty much the same for anything that breathes.
Yes. Right? So anyway, so my dog convinced me that I should be very worried about my life eventually. Right. Initially, I was like, what are you doing? Right. Let's just, stay calm. But then as I was continually fighting with the dog to some degree, right, pushing the dog away, lifting the dog up, keeping the dog up above the water, right, all of this from a distance, I wasn't realizing this, but I was using more and more energy, right, to do that. And then I started realizing I need a break, right, because I need to start exercise. I need to chill out because I'm getting really out of breath here. I got a kid right here. What's up? What do you need?
Which one's to the power?
To the power?
Yeah.
What do you mean to the power?
Like 8 to the power.
Oh, which
Raising
button?
to the power.
Raising to the power. Got it. Thanks. Rory got it before I did. So you can't see it, I think, here. You got x squared,
Shifted
which
6.
is just a 2. But if you want to go to a power, you want to come up here. I'm just bringing this up here so everybody else can see it. You want to go click up here where it says standard, and I think you want to change the calculator type. Where is it? Where's it? Maybe it's this button right here. Change it to scientific, maybe. And if you go to scientific, you get more buttons, and you should see a Y to the X in here. There it is. See the X to the Y right there? So you say 7, then you hit X to the Y 2, and that'll be 7 squared, which should be 49 when you hit equals. See it? Like that? So 7 raised to the power of 2 is 49.
It says 7, and then like a little 2 in the corner. I do 7 to the power of 2.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Okay? Come back if you have any questions. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that was, and the other thing that was so on the way over, I guess I'm telling the whole story. This is a long story of terror. Do you really want to hear this, kids? On the way over to the island, I'm swimming with my 2 little ones. Gia was one of them, the one you just saw, and then Campbell as well. And I've got the dog the whole way. We're probably about 15 feet from the edge of the island, but the edge of the island drops off. I find out later the edge of the island drops off super steep within about 3 feet of the water edge. So it just comes out and it's like sucker like that. So I'm about maybe 16 feet out from it, and I'm exhausted. I'm like I got to make it in. Maybe 20 feet, 25 feet, something like that. But I'm not too far away, which is divide by 3. It's about 8 meters to 5 meters, somewhere in that range that I'm out. And I think, okay, I gotta just relax. Good thing gravity in the water doesn't work like when you're not in the water. I'm pretty sure the gravity does, and I don't have any
gravity does, but there's a certain
devices
resistance though that'll help you out there.
Yeah. So anyway,
you won't fall quite as fast.
So I'm like, I need to practice my survival skills right now so I can take a break before I swim the rest of the way in. And so I let go of the dog, and I just try to focus on relaxing. As I do that, my dog goes to my daughter and puts his paw on her head and pushes her down. She's a foot under the water. And I'm just like, oh. So I'm like, I take do you remember this? Yeah, she got some scratches too.
Everybody got scratches.
Yeah.
This is,
But what did you say when you came up? You said that hurt, but then also were you scared? Grab her, she said. Maybe that's true, but I think were you scared or no? Yeah, why is she putting me down? Yeah. So that was the question I was asking. Probably I asked about 45 times by the time I got back. Anyway, so I grab her, take her back, and I just put everything I can into it to get up. And we get there. We sit and we rest. We don't really have fun on the island at all because I'm just resting, right? Because I'm so out of breath when I ride.
Well, exhaustion really does set in pretty quickly.
And holy cow, we got 47 people coming in right in the middle of the story. Oh man. All right, we'll do it. I'll hit the dance.
We like our raids. Welcome, everybody.
These are my best dance moves. That's why people are here. It's dancing with Mark.
Welcome, everybody.
We are coding.
You join us as we A, try to fix a bug, and B, listen to Mark's tale of peril.
Yeah, I'm telling a tale of terror that happened to me just yesterday, I think. Was it yesterday, Gia, that this happened? Yeah, it was yesterday. It was Sunday. Sorry, it was Sunday that happened. Yeah, not yesterday. But yeah. So here's, if you're just joining us, here's what's happened so far. I've gone swimming to an island with my kids, 11 and 10 years old, and we are on the way to the island. We're bringing our dog, which is a medium-sized dog. Dog halfway across in the swim has been just resting on my shoulder, totally fine, but halfway through decides to panic and decides that the best thing to do is to climb up on top of me because I look the most like land. And what were you there developing? What, on the island or in the code? Because in the code, I'll show you that. I'll give you a little bit of stuff on that. 10 projects in 1 hour. Wait, were you asking about the folks? 10 projects in 1 hour? Holy cow! I need to see that. Dark mode toggle. Hamburger. Pop-up. Wow. Wow. You guys did all that in 1 hour? Really? That is intense. I'm feeling like I could do one project in like 2 years. That's a little bit, but we'll show you a little bit what we're doing in a second. Let me finish the story and then we'll go in and we'll show you what's going on here. So the dog attacks essentially us. Tries to drown us is what's essentially happening. I'm holding the dog away. We make it to the island, and my daughter got pushed down underwater. I got just attacked by the claws. And I say attacked. The dog is just trying to paddle over to you, but doesn't have the empathy or compassion to understand what it's doing. Smoothie's like, I feel so inadequate all of a sudden. No, that's awesome. That's a great challenge. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. We rest on the island for a little bit, and I said, kids, you're going over without me because I don't want the dog to try to attack you guys. And if things get bad, I don't want that to happen. So the kids leave, and they and I watch them swim back. Total distance across is, how far is that? Hold on a second. It's about 24, 32, probably about 40 to 50 meters across is what I'm thinking is what it is. That's the part that you have to swim across.
I love trash!
Oh, look, it's a monster in the water! What happened? Oh my god.
Oops.
That was really, it's really frightening what just happened on my show. Speaking of frightening, so I try to get the dog over again, and this time the dog on the way back is even worse. The dog doesn't want any part of it. I try all kinds of things to get the dog to be calm, and I'm not going to leave the dog on the island. That's not an option. So anyway, on the way back, and he's pummeling me like crazy. I remember at one point he like pushes me down under the water, like putting his paw on my head, and I'm just moving down with a surprising amount of speed, and then I hit my feet hit the bottom, and I remember looking up and seeing the water's here, and I'm like, okay, I am not that far. from I can keep going and I can make it.
Yeah.
I have just got to keep going, right? But getting up, all of this, I get out and I'm like bloody all over, got scratches all over. This is what these two are about right here. And I get out and my wife is looking at me like, what's going on? It was not good. But both times I was at my eyes at water level, like looking at the beach, thinking, how am I going to get from here to there? It was, and totally exhausted, out of breath. So anyway, that was my experience fighting off mammals in the water. All right, so now let's show you a little bit what we're doing on this show. For folks who are still here and hung out with that story, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Boom, 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 boom. We're working on a Dungeons and Dragons application, an application that makes it easier and more interesting and more fun to watch a game of Dungeons and Dragons. It is for a separate stream. I'll give you a link in a little bit out there, a separate stream. And while this show, I'll say, is totally safe for work, the other one is not. So if you're like, if you want to, if you're very, work safety conscious, there it is right there. You can see the link there.
We're very family friendly here.
Yep.
Not so much on the other stream.
Yeah, we hate families on the other stream. No, that's not true.
In fairness, we've got to be clear. It's not that we hate them, but it's not even just a little bit unsafe. It's pretty unsafe.
It's pretty unsafe. So this is the C# application that we built. So we built this C# application that allows us to switch. Let me just change the order of something there so you can see it. So these are the different characters right here that are in the game that are playing, and it shows their stat pages, and we can change and show different pages here. So we built all of this, the effects. There's even a particle emitter there that puts those golden dust particles out there, that sort of thing. We've got a spell page as well that shows all the spells. You can see that in the overlay, along with the Dungeons and Dragons description of the spell, all the data out there.
All the right dice, the levels of damage, the requirements, the attributes of the characters. Basically, everything is supposed to be available so that nobody has to just continually be reading this information out. It's there, for, as appropriate to the situation, so that everything can just run that little bit smoother. None of the calculations need to be done. None of the dice. I mean, you roll dice, but we don't have to total them because they get totaled for you.
Yeah.
So there's no slowdown for that kind of stuff.
Right, exactly. The Dungeon Master has a stream deck just like this one. You can see the buttons on screen. So I've got the different characters up there. So I can click up here. I'm already selected. Hold on, let's go to Lady. Click on her like that. And so you can then click on, for example, weapons. Like she's got a weapon called the Tenderizer. Click on that. Say I want it two-handed. And there the weapon comes up, right? And the dragon's ready to roll the dice. I can give her advantage like that. And then I can say roll the dice like that. And then that rolls it. And the dice come out.
That was a great effect. The dice just appeared to wipe the dragon out as they went.
Yeah, isn't that fun? I like that when that happens. It's totally random if that happens. I mean, it's kind of random, but it seems to happen more than not. So that was a miss, unfortunately. But that's kind of one of the things we do. We also worked on conditions for players for showing those visually. And so, for example, let's select my character right here. And we can start just hitting these buttons to add conditions. So we say I'm blinded or charmed. And we built this so that we could kind of stack them up and get rid of them. Just kind of, in general, button mash along here. And
if you hang out on the channel long enough, you'll notice that we tend to build things with a certain degree of excess in mind. Just for the quality almost, just in case this should happen.
Right.
And as a result, we have very stackable conditions.
Right. So there's an example of that. So let's go in and I'll show you one of my favorite spells to cast for it's the complexity of the visual effects. I've actually got a couple of them that I like, actually. Let's go into Miles' spells, and let's cast Darkness for Miles. So Miles sits over there, and when you cast Miles, you cast Darkness, things like this. And then you got that there. One of the cool things that's going on is that hourglass is actually counting down the time that the Darkness spell lasts, using the Dungeons and Dragons. So it's pretty cool stuff. That's one of them, and I'll show you one of them, which is Chaos Bolt. I'd like to throw out a Chaos Bolt. I'm just hitting do it a little bit more like that, and we'll throw that. Let's give me advantage on this roll as well. And we'll throw that out. anyway, that's it. We can take, our characters can take damage. So I can take, for example, 40 damage, and it looked like I was swimming the other day. That's just pretty much it right there. But we can also give them healing as well. And one of the cool things about the effects, notice it's spinning around me. See that?
Yeah.
So all of this
3D wraparound graphics.
Yeah, all this stuff you've seen, we've written here on the show. And
it should be pointed out as well, though, that virtually none of the data that you see here is actually hard-coded. It's all held in sort of external Google Sheets-inspired database, which and loaded up at the time. So we can edit all of this, add new spells, new effects, new combinations of things, sometimes directly on the sheet, but we've also built the editor to allow us to write a fair amount of this indirectly.
Yeah.
And so if something isn't quite ready, we'll tweak to the data and we're good.
Yeah, that's true. Also, in terms of those kinds of things, we have we built a little mini IDE here, an editor where we can, with code completion, where we can come in here and choose what
IntelliSense, code completion,
yeah,
data dependent help in all those things. Yeah, because we like having help when we're writing our own language for our own Dungeons and Dragons stream-based system.
So that's kind of what's going on here. So like if we look at, like, I'm going to try and come up with something kind of simple here to play with. I guess tidal wave, for example. Spell hit effect. We've got those. I want to find something else. Let's do Mage Hand. So here, for example, we've got add spell cast effect. If we fire Mage Hand for right now, this is what it looks like. So it's got that kind of thing and a sparkle poof that comes at the end. But let's say I want to do maybe a little bit more. I can come in here and say add spell cast effect, like that, and then choose.
So not only do we get IntelliSense help with the name of the method, but also in this case with the name of the effect as pulled from the data.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So let's try it again. Okay, there. So now I see that little orange thing. We just added that little red kind of thing at the bottom right there. Let's look at it one more time and you can see it here. It's right there. See it? That's kind of cool. Kind of a nice little effect there. Yeah. So that's kind of gives you an example of what we can do. We can change, for example, the hue of that. That's kind of defaulting into red, which I actually kind of liked. But we could say, well, let's make it more yellow by giving it rotating it about 20 degrees. Fire that event, and now we should see a little bit yellow in the bottom there. It's a little more yellow now. See that? And so we can do that kind of thing. We can actually, we've got a lot of parameters here, and you see we've got tooltip kind of piece showing up for it. I actually kind of want to lift it up a little bit, is what I want to do. So I'm just going to go in here, scale of the effect. Let's make it a little bit bigger too. Let's double up its size. Rotate, I'm going to give it a -1, which means it's going to rotate at a random degree. I can also have an auto rotation as well, which I'm going to just say 0. Time to wait is going to be 0. And secondary hue effects, 0, 0, 0. I don't need that. Amount to move this on the x-axis, nothing. But on the y-axis, I want to move it up about maybe 200. Let's just see what that looks like. Let's fire that. Wait, do I have 2 of those? What's going on? I don't have 2. Why did I see 2? It looked like I saw 2 of those, with the old one and the new. Oh, wait. Is there an explanation for it? No, there's not. I only have 1 overlay. Oh, maybe, you know what? Maybe it's actually that big. I think that may be what's going on.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's true. One does seem to merge into the other. So whilst it seems like 2 pieces, it could very well just be one that's sort of occupying 2 spaces initially and then merging.
Let's change it to green. Yeah, it was. That's what it was. It was just bigger. It was so big. That's what's happening. All right, so I moved the scale back down to 1 right there. And so now it's working as a little more as I'm expecting. Let's change it back to 0. I kind of liked it red. Let's look at it. Yeah, and we'll maybe bring it down a little bit. So this is kind of cool, right? Being able to come in here and work through basically having coded effects. This code, by the way, is stored in a Google Sheets. So if we go out into the spell sheet for, the D&D spells, Mage Hand is there, and this is going to be out there. The other thing that's cool is whoever is casting it, it's going to be centered on them. Those effects will be centered on that particular player. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm actually going to rotate this back even more. I'm going to go back to maybe 340 to get it a little pinker, I think. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah. Okay. So that's swirl smoke B. So that's how fast and easy it is to make changes to that. So one of the things we focus on here is we focus on the show. We focus on fast edit and continue edit. I'm sorry.
We
edit.
really like ourselves some productivity.
Yeah.
So we want the quickest way, the shortest feedback cycle that we can get,
right.
So that we can make these kinds of adjustments on the fly without then having to wait some arduous length of time to see what the effect is.
Exactly. I'm just going to get rid of darkness there by adding some time to the clock. And with that, let's go back and find the bug. So that's a little bit about what we do on the show. We're C# and TypeScript mostly. Rory's here with me. The voice you hear is Rory. Fred he's one of the players on the show. He's just hanging out with us as well. But that's kind of what's going on. So, all right. The first thing I was doing is going through and I was cleaning up these so I could kind of go through the file and not see a bunch of these right here. Constants, and this one, oh, it's this. It's saying do that right there. Okay, that one there.
I should point out that we're writing this in a combination of C# and TypeScript, a little bit of HTML. TypeScript obviously compiling to JavaScript, and we are doing the communication between the two of them using Signal R. So we send commands out, it's received by the web page that is effectively being rendered onto your screen and overlaying mark and underlaying in some cases, and provide a wonderful composite image.
I think it's the time to ask for Janeski Seven's help. That's what I'm thinking. And it looks like he's here. If you're wondering what's going on, kids, you're like, wait, what is this?
Here, right now.
You guys see fanfare for kids folks in the audience who hang out here a lot and or have really cool handles. And so what's going on there? All right, here we go. Getting these really quickly. Am I at the end of the file? Looks like I'm at the end of the file. Okay, so I want to get, we need more data is what we need to understand what's going on with the bug. Let me show you the bug just so you can get a sense of what we're after here. I'll show it on the live stream here. So the bug goes like this. And let me also bring up the stream deck so you can see the buttons that get a sense of what buttons I'm hitting. So if I show a player's scroll like this, and then I go to, I think all I have to do maybe is, I don't have to actually, maybe I do have to cast a spell. I think I go to cast a spell. So switch is that's part of the button. Then I close the scroll. So I'm going to hit this button right here. And now here comes the bug. I go to another player, go to their spells, and now if I bring up the spell, we won't see it. So if I click on mending, you see the sound effects for the scroll unfolding, but we don't see it. This guy Funks is out there. How you doing, this guy Funks? Glad to have you with us. This guy Funks is on my list for fanfare, by the way. So is Firepower. So let's figure that out. That's what we need to figure out. I think up here, you might be able to see some data here. Oh, look at this. Swirl Smoke B, sprite not found. These are not actually errors to worry about. This is an error that I'm putting out myself. That's just simply saying, hey, that sprite's not found. It's okay. Because what's happening is when sometimes I might ask for a particular spell effect to occur, and it might be on the back page or the front overlay. Roy was talking about those two overlays. So that's what's going on there. Not a big deal there. Okay, so that one's not anything to worry about. Really? Janeski 7? You think it's time for a party?
This whole show is one long party.
That's me looking for the guests. We're the other guests in the party. Okay, so let's go back over to console here.
So when we were last looking at this, we were outputting a little bit more information, and we got the name of the state being output instead of a sort of a more encrypted number. But we decided that that's not quite enough. We're going to have to go and find more information somehow to let us know just what's going on.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. So let's go look at the console log here. And we're in this file called character stat scroll, which is, I think, where we want to be. I'm going to restore this one. I'm just going to look at this. I'm going to start doing some of this. I had some console logs in here from a long time ago. And there's my state. What's this? Focus item. This might be interesting, too, to go after the focus item issues as well. Yeah, so we're just, all right, so I've done that. Oh, what is this? This is the render. This is the call to draw. We do some cool things in here where we're drawing cropped so that we're only going to show the part of the scroll as it unfolds. And then we also are using that information to show what text, determine what text to draw. So as it unfolds, it looks like it's actually opening up. I'm going to just add this one as well.
Also, if you're not familiar with the feature in question, that little bit of graphical information that we had up there, that's being put there by CodeRush by request that obviously we copied and pasted the image directly into a rich text comment. One of the things we're doing here is we are dog fooding CodeRush. So if we encounter any issues or think of any new features, it's a great place to make a suggestion, feedback to the devs and what have you, and get those things in there. But this particular feature is just gold. The ability to just put a specification or a graphic or capture a bug and just embed it in the code so you're not now switching applications to sort of retain this knowledge and back out to Paint or wherever you've stored it. Yeah. This is just lovely. This is really useful.
It's very cool. You can also put links on these as well, where there it is right there. I can just click on link and I can specify what the link is, what I want it to do, or even execute a Visual Studio command if I want to, like that. Also have undo support here. I'm redoing and undoing my resize of it. So anyway, very cool. All right, so let's refresh that. And where did I add it? I added to little cutie spell page, that refresh button right there. So I can hit that and it refreshes. So we're going to bring up jump.
Are we at all concerned about the hundreds of messages accumulating scroll is not visible?
Are you asking, are we more concerned about that or no?
I didn't notice them before, so I'm wondering, are we concerned that they are appearing and just going and going and going and going?
Well, I just uncommented a bunch of things here. So the scroll is not visible. That's in our render. The state, I feel like...
shows you a lot of frames. That's good.
Yeah, I feel like these are, important issues to consider right here. There you go. That one's for you. That control, click, drag is for you, Surly Deb.
I think he's maybe used it twice since we last saw you.
Yeah, so I think we've got a problem somewhere where it's as seeing, oh, are we closing? I think this is our problem. We've got to get from closing to closed. So I kind of want to review that code and take a look at it. So I'm going to just let these keep going here. And let's go find closing and just see if we can do a code review of it, see if we can find out what's going on. Actually, maybe I'm more interested in when closed is assigned. Let's go find that and see what's going on here. Open. You know what? I kind of want to do this. I want to do that. I'm also thinking this might fix it too. Let's see what happens. There, hit it, bring up something. There's the correct one right there. Now let's go to, let's close the scroll, go to another player, bring up the spells and click it.
Hey, bingo.
All right. So that's my fix. That's like my fix. Let's go find all those console logs and get rid of them. Keep that one there. Keep that one there.
Love that little dragon.
Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Oh, let's hit the roll dice so we get rid of that. Yeah, isn't that cool? Look at the spell. It's super fun stuff.
All the effects everywhere.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
It's great.
Let me do that again. Watch this, kids. Look at this. Look at the gold going behind me and then the blue going behind me.
Mm-hmm.
This is seriously cool stuff. All right. Okay, that's good. Let's go back to where we were. Now we fixed that. I'm glad we fixed that. I'm in a little bit better mood to. That's somebody's saving throw. I wonder why I had the saving throw. Denji is Denji. Oh, Denji must be. Denji's targeted. That's why. Okay, that made sense. Is that it? Did I get all the way around? Yep, I think I got all the way around. Alright, next on our list of bugs to go after. Damage is 8. Yeah, Denji's probably going to roll a saving throw again. Okay. Let's refresh over here. And one more time just to verify without all of these. And so there's one, close, go to another character, spells, hit the button, and it works. That looks like we're in much better shape.
Nice.
Okay. Although, I think I just noticed a problem that we actually don't want, which was, there's a risk of this. The problem was, let's see if we can do this. Bring this up. Oh, yeah. I'm hitting Miles to bring it up. There's a separate button. Close. See that? I close it, and it doesn't. All right. It was like, it was maybe premature on that self-congratulations right there.
No, first bug gone.
Yeah.
Second bug, okay, fine.
New bug.
Haven't taken a swing at that yet.
Yeah, we're going to, let's see, closing. Let's get over.
It's just a rerun of the stacking conditions.
Something's going on. All right. So that's not it. That's not it. We've got to find out. We got to get it right, the proper fix. And it serves me right for trying to take a shortcut on that. Let's see where. Here we go. Just closed. Just closed. Where's just closed set?
So if it's closing and your index reaches 0, I think that's when it sets that.
Yeah, I think we need something similar.
Although that's interesting, isn't it? If it's just closed on the basis that the state is closing, would you not change the state to closed in there?
I do just down below.
Okay.
I do right here.
Okay, fair enough.
Although, no, wait a second. This is only if we need an immediate reopen. Hold on. There's probably another one where this is assigned. It's not assigned anywhere else. But I think you're right. We should.
So it's only set to close currently if you're about to immediately reopen.
Yeah, I'm going to come in here. So I'm going to do this. Where was that? Let's do a tap to this reference backwards. There it is. I think I'm going to do that.
Right. Is that going to affect anything else? Is state referenced between those 2 points?
No, it's only a sign.
It's not tested.
Wait.
Well, it's tested for disappearing, but...
Yeah, that's at a higher level else. It's not inside this block here.
So we're not going to break anything extra. That's good.
Yeah, the thing that's weird, though, is why would I do it here but not down in this else here? So this is basically saying if we're still animating and the state is closing or the state is closed. So we kind of are in that space here for here, but if it's not, if it's closing, it'll be here.
Well, I was going to say, if we're not closing, then there's no need to journey from closing to closed.
Yeah. So it's just, I think the problem is we didn't need to immediately reopen, so we were never setting it to close. That may be our new fix, is what's happening here. So that may be our new fix. All right, let's try that. We'll do a refresh over here. Send the data, attempts to reproduce. So let's do that. We're gonna go in and do jump. Yeah, now this is a new bug. This is a different bug, but it's the if little cutie is already selected and she is on this page, and I do a refresh down here, and then I say go ahead and do a little cutie spell. It won't show little cutie spell down here. It's a separate bug though. If I click away and then I do it again, it'll work correctly. Okay, so this is the start of it. So there's our molder. We're going to now close the scroll. We're going to now go over to another character and choose the spell there. And we did not fix it. Do I need to do that just in case? Let's see if we can do this. This mage hand and close the scroll and go over to the shooting spell, which is more work. That didn't work. There's another way out that this thing is closed, and we need to find it. And it's probably here in the render. The scroll is visible. And scroll sprite type is length not equal to 0. That means we got sprites in there on somehow we're drawing it. I'm also thinking here. That's important. So this is basically this else right here. This is the opposite of. It's the opposite of. Well, it's a couple of if else's that we're going down, but the first one of these is here, I believe. Is that true? Let's follow this line all the way down. Yeah, that's true. So it's basically 3 top-level choices we're asking. Hey, is the scroll visible? And are there any sprite proxies left in the scroll? Right? Is anybody out there trying to draw that? If so, then we're going to try and draw something. Otherwise, are we disappearing? Then if that's the case, let's work on that right there. Otherwise, let's say scroll state is equal to, at least here we're saying close. Maybe I should say change it to none. So frame index is 0 here. I'm going to none. Well, let's just see if the change we made works first. Let's see what's going on there. Let's see one more.
Fair enough.
Here. All right, so folder did not look like it worked here. I see it on the stream, but I don't see it. Let me get rid of the stream here. Wait a second. I'm not seeing it back here. Yeah, so there's jump, there's molder. Let's close it. And I need to get close to it. Really funny.
Hey, Puddin'.
I kind of feel like my dog is pushing down on me right now.
Oxygen getting low.
You know what I'm talking about, Rory?
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't seem to work at all. I just want to make sure I didn't have that I took the other one out. I'm pretty sure you remember me taking the other one out that didn't work above, right?
I thought so, yeah.
It was a switch statement, as I recall.
Yeah, you'd added it back in, or so you added it initially, but I think you did remove it.
Yeah, that's because I'm not seeing. I'm searching for closing. Yeah,
That's where it was.
Yeah, that's where it was, and it's not there. All right, it's going to take more data. We're going to have to figure this out. I want to just try this, just to click on that one to try that and see how we're doing there. I'm not seeing any of these light up. So definitely that's not a good idea to set scroll state to none, just flat out here.
Now, you did have a different value there. That was either closing or closed when we first came across it?
No, it was actually nothing. I added closed first, and then I added none. Neither of those are working. I'm now taking them out, I believe. Let's just double check that. Yeah, so I took this out, saving it, refreshing this, refresh the data. Yeah. A little bit crazy. All right, so this is harder to solve than I thought it was going to be. At first it seemed like it was easier to solve, and now I've decided it's harder to solve. We got kind of close, right? We got close with that one line above at the top, right? By saying this one right here, by doing a slam. The problem is, who's calling open? We're calling it from a couple places here. Hold on a second. I think I got a workaround that can fix this. These are test cases. These are kind of test pieces here. I want to call it two different ways. I want to basically pass in a Boolean depending on where I'm calling it from. From here, just close it. Need immediate reopen. Where's need immediate reopen set on this? When we change the page?
So if page is not equal to our new, so if we're changing to a new page but not from an undefined, is that the sort of logic?
Yeah.
So we're going to close this one, but we're going to reopen another one.
Yeah. It's almost.
Although I don't see anything there looking for undefined, as if that's the exception. Or does that get counted with the?
By looking for undefined.
Well, I can say if you're switching from undefined to page 1, then that sort of makes sense. You are opening. If you're switching from page 1 to page 2, you close page 1, which is a necessity, and then you reopen. That's the immediate reopen. So I guess does the comparison there in the first if, does that only pass if we're changing from page to another page?
You're asking about this? Yeah, this. You're asking, does this is if they're not equal to. So this could, it could be any comparison. If this is new values undefined, if we set page to undefined, this is a property, right? This is all part of a property here. So
it's really just to prevent us changing from a page to that same page.
Let's see. If page is not equal to new value, then we do all of this stuff. The other possibility here, though, is that we might want to do this stuff. Let's see, we got a setter on this thing. There's one right there. So player data change. The page is not equal to page ID, or the state is equal to closed, or the state is equal to disappearing. Then we go into here. Yeah, I'm almost thinking I wanted to. Did I already try this here? I think I may have already tried
We tried
this.
inserting. Well,
It was in
I
a
think
similar
it
place,
did
but
not.
I'm not sure if it was here.
It didn't previously have both closed and closing in the thing that we were messing with.
Let's see what we get with here. Refresh that. Refresh the data. There's little cutie. Bring up mold earth. Now let's close the scroll. Does close work? Close seems to work. Go to another player. Bring up their spell. So it's still not showing itself, and I think it's kind of, I guess it's failing here. So I think what we want to maybe do is, I think this is where we're failing to right here. I don't know, maybe throw this out as we're like a, we're basically, and maybe do a more, not. So basically we have data change with no update. That's kind of where I want to put it. Okay, let's turn off the live stream pieces for a second here. And let's go back over here, refresh one more time. Refresh that data. And let's go get, so here's another characters, and let's close the scroll. Switch to another character. And, okay. Data change but no update. So at least we're kind of like, all right, it's kind of, we know where we are here.
Yeah.
Looks like this is the page that we're sending out right there. I thought it was more than just a number.
And state is slamming. But we didn't see a slam.
Yeah, slamming is it's coming down. We're waiting for the slam to complete. That's interesting. So page is just a number, huh?
I
No, it's
suspect
scroll
we
page.
can do the same trick on as before. So if we index that.
I feel like you're about ready to leave, Rory, and you don't want to leave me in this state of swimming in the middle of the ocean.
Few minutes just yet. Bottom of the hour is normally.
All right, so the scroll page, when it says, just so we know what it is, it's a 1 out there. That's just telling what page. That's the main page, is what it is. So that's the first one.
Yeah.
But that's still not going to help us necessarily. But for completeness, I'll put that out there. So the slamming is kind of interesting. Scroll state is equal to slam. Let's go look in this. Did it say slamming? Yeah.
I think it did. Yeah. Which means we're not progressing to slammed.
Yeah. Which is
and yet other parts of the system clearly do slam. You know, we I don't know if we get to that final state, but the visual effects do kick in normally. There we go. Slamming leads to slammed, but only if, various
I'm sorry,
frame
Rory.
proxies.
I know you're trying to read that, but I'm scrolling up to see if there's any exit. I'm going to make sure there's no early exit here.
It is occurring to me that this method is kind of long, and that the logic does seem to involve scrolling up and down quite a lot. I wonder, is there anything we can extract out to make the analysis a little simpler?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's tricky because we do have a lot of constants which probably do hold their weight.
Well, let's see. Let's see what we can do here. I just want to look at and try to understand the code here. If we're still animating, or we're closing, or we're closed. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't understand this. That seems wrong to me. Because if we're closed, none of this should be real. It feels like a bug fix that was kind of not well done. Kind of like the ones I demonstrated earlier in the show.
Sure.
So,
because as you say, once you close, there's nothing to put on screen. So,
yeah, let's take it off a second and see what the behavior is. I kind of feel like let's make it at least so that the code is making sense here on this for us, and we're not having code that kind of doesn't really make sense. All right, so there's one. Close the scroll. Somebody else, bring up this cell. So it's not, we're not seeing it because I think, what's the state? The state is still slamming, it says. But.
So that's good. So are we saying that despite that minor adjustment you just made, things are no worse or no better? But it is in theory clearer
than when we started. Yeah, I guess you're right. So that kind of change there is it's interesting, right? So let's go ahead and we'll keep going with what we've got.
So we can argue this first sort of branch, if you like, is all about the closing, nice and simple.
I think the core essence of the bug is that the state is not correctly maintained, and I think we need to work on that. That's what we need to do. You know what I think would be a really good thing to do?
What's that?
Let's draw the state on screen so we see it at all times.
Yeah, we've been having good luck with some diagnostics of that nature recently.
Yeah, so let's do that. So let's do this. Let's say this dot draw state. Where's my context? It's like, what is it? World.context. World.ctx is my context, okay? So say world. World.context. And then we're going to say, maybe that's all we need. Let's declare that. And we're going to say ctx dot fill text. Right there it is, right there. Fill text. I'm gonna stick it like right above my header, as close as I can get to it there. So it's about 1,000 across. It looks like that's my X. Whoops. State plus this dot state. And that's my scroll state. So I'm going to want to show it like this. And what is that? That's about it's about 880 down. All right, cool. Let's give it a color so we can see it. CTX dot fill style. Let's make it like a light red. And font, let's make it equal to 32px Arial. And I think that's going to work. So there's my draw state.
Okay.
So that is in my back overlay. Let's go refresh that. There it is right there. That was my attempt at getting it above my head. So we're going to go to 780 and go to 10, maybe 1100. Like that. Let me do a refresh on that.
Closer.
680, 1200. And refresh that. There we go. That'll work for now.
That'll work nice.
So there's my state. Let's see what happens as we click on fret. Slamming, unrolling, unroll.
Nice. That's what we want to see.
It's all about visualizing the bug, isn't it, Rory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Let's now close it and see what happens here. Let's do close. Scroll close. State goes to disappearing.
Interesting.
Disappearing is when the other piece makes scroll disappear. Here it is, scroll poof back front. So that's the explosion.
Yeah.
We never really get out of disappearing. Is one of the things that's happening. So disappearing is kind of equivalent to the starting position, which is none, I think. Unrolling, unrolled. One more time, scroll close. Disappearing.
Do we have anything else that's dependent on disappearing? I.e., are we testing against it or setting it to that?
Well, we got this piece here.
Okay.
So basically, that's one. Need to immediately reopen. What's interesting here, take a look at this code.
That feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wrote this code, this weird code. It's kind of a fix here, I think, is what's going in here. If okay to change page, where's that? Page ID is not equal to -1. Okay, so we just got a valid, maybe change this to valid new page. The new page is valid, something like that. We change it to new page is valid.
Yeah.
Right. So if new page is valid and we're disappearing, then we say we need to reopen immediately.
So that's weird. Disappearing implies vanishing entirely, doesn't it? Rather than there even being a new page to go to. So actually, isn't that exactly the opposite? I mean, we don't have, if we are disappearing, if we're truly disappearing, we don't have a new page we're going to, and therefore we definitely don't need to immediately reopen.
Yeah, the need to immediately reopen is basically, well, what's interesting is this is different from this right here. And what it looks like is it's a state correction code is what it looks like is happening here. Is that we are in the process of something is exploding, right? We're in the process of disappearing is what it seems like. And then we come in and do this code to make this change here.
Well, so our local constant is more accurately, disappearing, right? So if disappearing, then state none and need immediate reopen is false. At which point the logic is still correct.
Let's just do this.
Yeah, fair.
State is disappearing, then state is equal to none.
Followed regardless by all of this if though there is a new page which is valid.
Well, it is. Oh,
because that's our outer if.
Yeah, but that's okay too because that just means the page ID is not -1. So that's okay. because it'll almost always be, that'll always be true. Nearly always be true, as long as it's not -1. So we've got a new page to jump to here. Hey guys, Shirley, I'm so glad you're with us. Yeah, I think when I almost died over the weekend, I think my only thoughts were like, oh man, I really should have reached out to Surly Dev to make sure he's okay. He's probably bleeding out under the coffee table right now. And he's been bleeding out for like 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I haven't seen him. I need to really give him a call. All I was thinking is I have to stay alive so I can get back home and reach out to Surly Dev one of these days to see if he's bleeding out or not. And
Absolutely.
I was going to reach out to him.
Keep living.
It was going to be later today.
To Surly and communication with him.
It was going to be later today. I was going to call you, Surly Dev. I was going to reach out and say, "Are you okay, buddy?" I promise that was the case. So
I'm a little confused because I get the inner piece, which is if we're disappearing, then let's set state up to say none and then immediate reopen false. That on its own makes sense. But around that, we have this idea that if we have a new page which is valid, then let's open that page.
Yeah, so
and
we
I'm
set
not sure
the page.
why we would have one.
Well, we should. Why would we have a new
we're
page?
Disappearing.
No, we're not
It seems like a
disappearing.
contradictory.
No, because it goes like it's like it's. I think I get where you're coming from. So, but the thing is, I could hit the scroll close button and immediately hit like this button here, right? And then now all of a sudden we're in this state because disappearing is true once we hit the scroll button, even after it's done. Like I almost think what I want to do. I think part of what we're identifying here is we have a state of disappearing. When I hit scroll close, it ends with disappearing, even though the animation is done. Right? And so I kind of feel like I want to fix that. I think I want to fix that. And I think I can fix it in the render call because the render's called no matter what. And I think, let's take a look at that. Where is the render call? Oh, I think we're in it. Yeah. So, and I do agree with you that we need to kind of refactor this if we can. My thoughts are that code looks like this. Hey, if we're disappearing, let me just do this before I write anything. Let me see what else. Hold on. I think this fixed the problem that you're seeing right there, where it says state is disappearing. So we're checking. So here's what's happening. The code I was going to write. Hold on. Let's make sure we get into this no matter what. Let's get rid of this code for a second. And I want to make sure we get into this block no matter what if we are in disappearing. There's no way around it. So we could miss it if we're still animating. There's a possibility of that. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to trust that maybe that works. Let's see if that works. We'll refresh the overlay here. Okay, so I hit mold earth and I get to closing. We're going to do another thing here. We're going to start revealing, we're going to focus on revealing our state. I also want to put in, I have a this dot, what is it? Active, is it active player? Active character? All right, so let's do this. And we're going to put this at about 580. Maybe more than that. Let's say 620. And let's change the color just a little bit to like light blue. Let's see if that works. Let's refresh. I'm not seeing anything yet. Is that because active character doesn't exist yet? There we go. Okay. All right. Better. State is unrolled. Let's close it. It didn't. Oh, there it is. It did go to none. That's what I wanted it to do. The thing is, if we're disappearing or we're none, from the standpoint of bringing a new scroll on, they should both be equivalent to each other. You still with me, Rory? Did I lose Rory?
Of course, I've apparently pushed the mute button, so that doesn't help.
No worries.
But yes, I'm with you. That does make perfect sense.
Okay. This can maybe help us in terms of finding that that other bug. So now it's at none. What's interesting now is I wonder if that change is going to help with the other problem.
Might do.
So let's go to Little Cutie, go to spells, and let's hit jump. Closing. Why does it go to closing? And now I'm hitting all kinds of spells in here and nothing is happening at all. Why is nothing happening? We're missing some data somewhere. We're not rendering it. Or we're rendering it and it's not changing. If I go out to another character, it was closing it because it thought it was on the wrong page, I think.
Okay.
And then once it was closed, it was expecting to immediately reopen, I think, and it never got out of it. That's why it was ending on the closing state. That's what I think is happening. Let's see if I can find the reproducible steps for this thing. Disappearing, going to none, and then we go to a new player, go into spells, hit the spell. Yeah, see it? I even saw a little bit of slam animation too. It's going to closing because it thinks it's already open, I think, and trying to close it. Okay. Let's do something else. Let's take our render method. I'm going to just delete this or cut it to the clipboard rather. And I'm going to come down here and put it down at the end. So we've got it, we can look at it and work with it. I'm also going to do the same with draw state. And I'm going to see if we can refactor this, make this smaller. Because yeah, I agree, it's gotten pretty big. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this a small piece at a time right here. If still animating, or this state is equal to closing. Let me look at still animating. Still animating means, yeah. Frames are remaining.
It has not yet got to the last or indeed the first, depending on what the...
That's what's going on there. So we're opening or closing. So what's going on here in this section, I'm pretty sure, is we're drawing a cropped version of the scroll. So that refactoring, that extract method there is going to look like that. I'm hitting the extract method key and nothing is coming up. Why is that? Oh, there it is. It's just down low below and I couldn't see it. All right, so I've extracted it. Whoa, really? You want to bring all of that information out? Why do I need top data? Wait. Yeah, I do kind of need them. I think I do. And just close. It looks like I need those two. So it's a mess in terms of what the extraction looks like. But at least I can now say draw cropped scroll. So I can do that. And then this one is going to be draw full scroll. Like that.
Which is an interesting comparison, because you would think that you'd be doing a cropped scroll during closing or opening.
Well, it's really almost still animating. I don't even know why this second piece is here. That's what makes more sense to me.
There you go.
Is that what you agree with that?
I think that's true, yeah. I think it was the other piece was a distraction from the reality that if it's animating in either direction, we're going to draw cropped scroll.
All right, so draw full scroll is out here. And down here, these are the emitters right here. So I'm just going to take this and throw this out as well. We're just going to go in here and say draw gold dust emitters. Draw character stats, that one's good. Scroll rolls, those are the top rolls on top.
Yep.
Active character, draw additional data, so that's the character data, I think. So maybe we'll say draw character data here. Okay. And now for disappearing, scroll rolls, the poof back, poof front. Yeah, so let's extract this. Render disappearing animation. Render disappear animation. Right there. Okay, if we are slamming, we're drawing there, and we need to get some milliseconds, it looks like. Scroll slam, sprite proxies, length, frame index, frame count by 1 - 1. Okay, then we are finished with the animation. We're just checking the animation here, and we want to play with sound effects. So that's what we're going to say. We call this render slam. If just closed, but if need to immediately reopen, open now. Immediately reopen is false. Make scroll disappear. What's make scroll disappear? We're doing a fade out. What are we calling this? If we just closed, yes, it's true. We just closed. So we closed it down. Make scroll. Scroll poof sound effect right there. Yeah,
that's
so
what
this
the
is
status says
what
disappear.
triggers it. Yeah, it triggers the so this is basically a check of we've gotten scrolled it all the way down. Do we need to now immediately reopen, or do we need to make it disappear? And that's one of the two things, right? So I'm going to say extract that, and we'll say close scroll now, maybe something like that. Okay, so how are we doing now? Now we still got this big chunk of code up here. If scroll is visible, and the scroll rolls are the pieces that roll up in the top and the bottom. And so if we've got anything there, then this, I think, draws the rolls. Let's see if we can verify that. Well, there's the drop. So actually it's from here to here. We're just actually calculating a lot of stuff. So we can go from here to here, I think to here is this hold lock. Yeah, that's one method right there. All right, so we'll call this draw scroll.
Okay. So we're either going to draw a scroll or we're going to render the disappearing animation, which makes sense. Alternatively, there is a slamming, which theoretically happens ahead of that. It's an earlier state, but still is an alternative. That's valid.
Okay. So what are we going to do here? Just closed? Uh-oh. Something didn't work. That's not good.
No. Did it not? What's the actual complaint it's got there?
Well, it should be a constant.
Never reassigned.
But what's the problem is that when I did the extract method, it didn't take this part out. This is the problem. Render scroll just closed. What I need to do is like return. I think I can fix it by just doing this. Return. The extract method failed to preserve the code. So we'll change this to a Boolean. I'm glad we caught that. And then we're going to come in here and say just float is equal to this render scroll. I don't know. That at least preserves it. I don't know. It's a little weird to have a render call, return whether something is closed or not. The whole thing, it kind of like, this code is, I think, to be honest, this is some of the first code we wrote in TypeScript.
Yeah.
And so I'm feeling like the quality of this code is lower than what we're doing now more recently. But I'm dealing with this kind of like, I'll tell you, I don't like render scroll returning a Boolean. I'll tell you what I don't like about it. I don't like that. And I don't like this either. This is complex in the call.
It is.
It's also in the declaration is complex as well. Right? Where is it? Right here. Where's the return piece? I got to find it.
It's in as any at the moment. It's not declared explicitly.
That's weird. Yeah. This is also probably, is that why? No, I don't know. I don't get that. That's kind of weird. But basically,
isn't that effectively a tuple? So it's expecting well, I say a tuple. It's a three-part object being returned. So what is actually returned? There you go. The return statement there.
But
it's not explicitly declared at the top.
Yeah, I was expecting that the extract method to explain that, but it does not. So, okay. All right. So anyway, there it is. We're returning top data, bottom data, just closed. Let's double check that we actually need all of those. Bottom data. Yeah, it looks like we need it. And just closed. All right. Okay. So we're returning just closed from here. Render scroll. I think that's all the same. We should probably it would be a good idea to at least see how bad we are. We made one logic change. I think at least one logic change. So I'm expecting maybe some different behavior, but I kind of feel like digging myself out of this new hole is maybe better. Let's see what happens. At least I've got that working. So this part is good. Changing characters is working. Let's bring up a spell.
Okay, that is, should we say less than perfect?
I believe this is due to the logic change that we did. Yeah, I'm hitting different spells right now. Closing the scroll. That's a mess. How much does it suck, Roy, if you have to leave right now? Are you like,
when
well,
you say
Mark,
if.
well, Mark, good job, buddy. I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, when you say if, it kind of is.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Yeah, it's that time.
No worries.
Okay, I wish you well with this.
Thank you, sir.
I look forward greatly to seeing how it looks tomorrow.
This is a sad party. It's early. All right, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Will do, bud. Have a good one. See you then.
All right. Let's go take it over. Let's turn it off on the party. Says Jessam. Let's turn it off over here on the stream. Let's go over here and refresh it. And Pudding saying hello. Welcome back to Twitch. Yes, really, Deb. We're totally glad you're back. Jetsam is in the house as well. That's how we say it in New England. Pate. That's right. Pate. All right, so what do we got here? Well, we got a bunch of scrollers not visible. Okay. There it is right there. You see the scroll is visible. Close the scroll. Okay, so there's like a basic problem right there. What's interesting is no additional data is here. We need to solve this problem. This problem should go to the disappearing. It did not do disappearing. Do I undo all of this? Let me start undoing this. Let me undo it. Let's take it to here and save it and see what we got on the refresh over here. See how good or bad that is. Hit the scroll close button. Still problematic. All right, let's keep going. My hunch is it's in this space maybe, but let's just see. We'll save here, do a refresh. Send the data, switch over, close. Still there. All right, let's keep going. This is the functional change that we did. This piece right here. I think, deleted that bit. Let's restore that. And now refresh and see if that fixes it. Is it close? That was it. That was the piece we changed. All right, let's remember that. Now I'm going to go forward all the way to the end. All right. See now, how do we look? Here's my render scroll. I believe that was here. There's the piece restored back. So now with that new save out there, let's refresh. Refresh here and close the scroll. Okay, good. Better. Okay, let's see what other bugs and issues we have. So clicking on these looks good. Changing to the second page here looks good. Let's switch over to another player now. So I'm on the second page here. Going to the other player should restore to page 1. Good. That's good. Go back to Lady again. That should go back to page 1 now for Lady. Good. And that's good. All right, now let's go see if we have the original bug and what that looks like. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to reproduce that. So to get there, I'm going to hit jump for little cutie. That should change her. We should be able to see it. Okay, that worked. Now I'm going to close the scroll off the jump page and go to another player and bring up their spell. And now we shouldn't see it. Well, we should, but we don't. And it says the state is slamming. And this would be maybe really good to do on the background overlay. So we can look at the drawing data that we're doing as well. Oh, interesting. Look at this. State is actually closing, even though here it says it's slamming. I think that's because of when we're sending it versus when we're drawing and rendering it. Okay. Should we do it on the main one? Yeah, let's do it on the main one for a while. We'll work here for a while. All right, so state is none. Active player is Lady. Let's try to reproduce the bug. So bring up lady's spell, pattern. Close the scroll. And now go to another player. Here's where I want to watch the data very carefully as I hit the spell. Now. So it just goes to closing. This is the weird thing. Why am I closing here? Is it because it thinks, it must think, actually let's go back and reproduce it again because I want to see, I forget what the state was before we got into it. Let's go back in again. We'll bring back the little cutie, bring up the jump spell, and now we're going to switch to my character and bring up the enlarge reduce spell. It's unrolled now. So enlarge reduce starts closing, unrolling. Whoa, that worked. No, I forgot to, sorry, my bad. Hold on, let's go back again. And cutie. Jump. I forgot to close it. Here we go. Close. And so the state is disappearing. And now I click on, no, the state is none. Large reduce. All right, what's my data? Not sending out a lot of data right now. I don't remember the name of the function. I think it's player data changed. Here we go, right here. I suspect the problem is in this space here. I'm going to move this up here. All right, let's see what we get with that. There's more data out here. Let's refresh this and send the data over. And let's see what we can do here to reproduce. We'll close. I'm going to turn off the overlay on the live stream here. So we're just going to look at the background here. Let's bring up another player. Let's bring up the spell. Okay, we should have seen it there, but we did not see it. Looks like a lot of data is being sent out here. So this is the call with what's coming in. So there's a lot of data coming in. Maybe I shouldn't uncomment this. It's this piece right here, the player data. Let's refresh it. Is this not working now? What did I break? Okay, no error. Just want to make sure there are no errors. Yeah, no errors in here. I don't think it was here. I just added console logs here. Wait. I think it was working. I think I was just, it was zoomed in and I was over here. I think it actually might have totally been working. Hold on. All right, so there's jump. Let's do the scroll close. And let's bring up another spell. All right, so what did we get over here? I think we're getting here. New page is not valid. I kind of want to change this up to this. Let's try that. Okay, that's working. Let's bring up a player spell. That's working. Close the scroll. Go to somebody else's spell. Nope, did not work. Let me do one more thing, just to be able to very clearly see when we're entering this. I want to do that. Jump. Go scroll. All right. All right, one more time. Okay, get my starting point. I'm going to clear all the console messages here. Close scroll. And now bring up Fireball spell for Merchant. getting a lot of calls back to back. I wonder if it's the proximity, the close proximity of these calls. So we start out, we say we're activating the character, which we start slamming it. Then immediately afterwards, we say, now let's go to page 4 instead. We start off on main, then we get to spells. Mesquite is closing. We do call open on it. I'm wondering if we want to attack this from the C# side of things. Reduce the amount of data we're sending out. We're sending out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and we really only need to send it once. I think. Should be only one time. Let's clear the console on this. Let's bring up. Let's go back to Little Cutie. Bring Little Cutie back up. Bring up her jump spell. Clear the console. Close the scroll. No messages in here. Now go in and bring up like Fireball, and now we should see 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 messages. Plus, I get that sound effect too, which is a little weird and doesn't make sense in terms of why I would get it. So I'm getting 5 calls out here. Player data changed. Coming from player data changed. Signal R command. Let's go over to the C# app. Got 2 different calls that are being sent out. Let's set breakpoints, I guess, of both of these. Okay, so I'm going to disable those. Let's close down this and start the app running from the code. All right, we're up and running. I think I'm going to have to refresh the live stream. All right, let's bring up the jump spell. Let's close it. Let's enable our breakpoints, and let's bring up Fireball from another player. So here comes number 1. Let's look at the call stack here. So the tab has changed. So number 1 is the tab is being changed. Okay. And that's coming from setting value to active player ID. Set player shortcut. So we got one that's relatively understandable. I'm like kind of okay with that. Let's just keep going and see what our next breakpoint is. Next breakpoint coming from oh, this one's kind of interesting. This one's coming from an event handler, tab control, update player changed. The previous one all right, I just hit run. I'm going to the next one here. Player data changed again. Switch to spell page. Kids, better late than never. This movie could easily be a movie opener, couldn't it? Yeah. Let's see here. Why don't I have my coder's music? There it is, right there. Yeah, Overkill Productions presents. Yeah, exactly. So we've got the spell page coming in here. And then the second time, yeah, I'm going to write a note to this. I'm going to make a note about this. Yeah, that's, I want to fix that. Should really only be one. I'm not going to spend any more time up here, but I'm just, let me disable all those breakpoints. I'm just going to run it. I'm now thinking, okay, should I make it, the bottom be more resilient to fast changes? I'm thinking that's kind of, I think I do want to do that a little bit. Let's go in and let's look at the current behavior in here. I think we lost our signal R connection here. I wonder if I can get it back without restarting this. Let me see if I can. Nope, I can't. I gotta. Looks like that happens sometimes if I'm at a breakpoint for a long enough time, I lose signal R. So we'll just restart it. What did I start the wrong one? I started the wrong one. That's not good. That's what I wanted to start. That one right there. I have it over here. Message. I'm not sure if these are going to be. We're going to have to restart this or not. Maybe not. Looks like the connection is restored. Although it's not lined up. Let's get it lined up. Okay. All right, so I want it to be more resilient. All of that is good. Clear console. All right, and now here's where we get that flurry. And I activate another spell for another player. Right, all of these messages here. The slamming, clearly I want the slamming to play, and we're not even seeing the slamming because we're changing the page ID during the slam. Well, you know, I'm thinking that while I'm like hopeful that I can, you know, and optimistic that I can find this, I'm like at this point I'm thinking we've kind of a couple problems. One is we're rapidly changing the state, right? We're saying, okay, now we've set it to this player. You know, I do think I need to get some control over how quickly we're changing that state and what we're doing. And instead of sending it, you know, send it just that final state. And I think that's all triggered by some UI issues over on the C# side of the application. The other thing is down here in the TypeScript, we have got a state where we are slamming that's totally interrupted because we're changing the page. We might be able to find a fix down in here if we can figure out when we go from slamming to closing. This is like the interesting piece between this piece here and here. go find when closing is assigned. See if we can figure out where that's being triggered. So somebody's calling close. Is that the only place it's assigned? That is the only place it's being assigned. Okay, so who's calling close? Calling close when we assign the page a new value. My contention though is I think we might be able to make this work though. If we're not slamming as if we're not, we have to not be slamming as well. Because if we're slamming, I think we can change the page states. Because I think that's part of what's happening here, right? The state is slamming, and then all of a sudden we go to closing. Because we're saying we're going from main to spells. That's what we're trying to do. So I don't want to change the page there. I don't want to call close. I want to only do it if we are not disappearing and we're not slamming. So let's try that. Let's refresh over here, refresh the data. Okay, let's bring up little cuties jump spell, and let's close the scroll. Let's clear all of this, and now let's hit Merkin's Fireball. We maybe just fix that. I think we might have just fixed that. Let's close it. Let's go back to, oh, I hit close and it didn't close all the way though. Is that true? I need to double check that. Let's turn on the, mute the site for a second. Let's see if we can reproduce that whole sequence of that. Yeah, the close is not working. The close is not working. Just by adding this line to it, really? Let's double check that. Let's take it out for a second. Refresh. Refresh the data. Jump spell. Close. That one works. Fireball. Now it fails to come up because I took the line of code out. There it is. That close is still there. All right, so that bug is still there, which is good. So that's a different bug somewhere else. So this fixes the one. We just now got to figure out that close bug that we, I think, somehow have here, where we put the scroll up and we hit close, and it doesn't go away the first time. I think it may be a player change. Is that it? Maybe. No. Let's try, try to find out how to reproduce that. Now try it. Changing the page. All right, let's see if we can get it. I think in the full sequence of steps we could reproduce. So it starts with this, then we go to scroll close. It's just there at the very start, I think. Refresh here, refresh the data, Click on a character and now try to close it. That's not it. It's the spell, I think is what it is. Let's try that. Little cutie, jump, and now try to close. That's it right there. All right, there may be some clues out over here. Let's see if we can get that reproducible. So we're going to reproduce. We do this. Send the data over. Go to little cuties. Jump spell. Let's clear the console. And now I'm going to hit close and see if we have it. That's it. No error messages. No data at all on the close. All right, scroll close. Let's go figure that out. Scroll close says close scroll. That's the command. Stream deck commands. Let's see close scroll. Maybe scroll close. There it is right there. Okay, hide scroll. Hide scroll. Send scroll layer command. Just send scroll layer command. So let's go find that. No, wrong. No, wait, I am in overlays only. Okay, there we go. So quite what I wanted. I'm expecting another. Right there. There's my this.close call. So my state is closing. I'm not sure if this is going to be the fix or not, but I'd like to try it. Okay, so we're going to come into spells, close, that fix it. Try to close now. Oh my gosh, did this really fix it? I think we might have found our way out of this. Let's give it a little more robust testing here. Let's do this. Let's take this, mute the site. Excuse me. And we still got the our state information showing up right there. Bring it miles. It's all you. Darkness. Maybe hypnotic happening. It feels like it may be finally working. Close the scroll. And that close worked. Let's go into Chaos Bolt. Alright, I think it's feeling way better. It is working. Okay, I think that's working. I think that's working. All right, let's get rid of the diagnostic stuff that we have up here. So kind of an interesting day of coding, right? Going, thinking we fixed it once, thinking we fixed it twice, kind of going back, refactoring, finding a problem, undoing until we find the state change, fixing the state change to the code that we added, the code change, continuing to refactoring, good lesson learned there. Be really careful about any kind of small changes you make while refactoring. Test along the way. Recovering that, then restoring the refactoring, and then eventually looking at the visualization data we have and ultimately fixing it. we'll comment that out there. That's going to get rid of that text right above us. I'm going to get rid of these for now. What other messages are we seeing out here? Scroll is not visible. Just cleaning up some of these messages. Going for adding windups too in here. Okay. All right. Let's refresh this. No console messages yet. Got a couple. Spellbook. I'm okay with the spellbook pieces that are in there. I'm okay with those messages showing up. Okay. Yeah, all for the spellbook. All right, I'm good with that. Roll some dice. Oh, I just did a scroll close and it didn't actually close it all the way. Wait, but I'm still seeing the old data. Maybe I didn't refresh it. I think that's my problem. That data should not be drawn anymore. Maybe that was my problem. I think that's my problem. Oh, I closed it and then it shot it back in. There is something wrong with it. However, the other pieces are working, so it's not bad. I think I'm gonna leave that bug in. I like the behavior change. I'll take one for the other. Interesting. If I figured that one out, though, the key is figuring out how to reproduce that. Right, you want to work on that, Fred? No? Okay. You want me to work on that? Really? Alright, fine. See if I can find a way to reproduce it.
Critical hit.
Trying to get that reproducible. I'm not seeing how to do it yet. It's closing. That's the concept I'm trying to do it. So it seems like it's head shape. Closing. Okay, I think I'm going to end the show with that. Oh, hold on a second. Just in time for me to end the show, man. That's what I was talking about. Coding Aurora. I'm just going through. I think I've mostly fixed the bug. Got kind of like a edge case bug that I got in exchange for it. Sometimes the scroll, when I try to close it, doesn't close all the way, but a second hit of it will get it to close. So I'm just going to have to look out for that. White Panther's online. You rate an awesome streamer. Coder. I do not follow White Panther. I know that bald bearded builder. Let's go take a look at White Panther. Got an ad here. It's an ad. Why is ads taking a long time? I'm dying. Okay, NordiTrack.
Sunday, so I'm going to do a bonus stream on Saturday.
Let's do it.
So I'll be on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Bonus stream. I've got a send drop user. Let's just do a send drop bonus event.
All right, kids.
Send drop event.
Here comes
so we
it.
don't want...
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We'll try to make it better tomorrow, more interesting. And we'll see you tomorrow.